We need to talk about Hannah Gutierrez, Reed the armorer from Rust. The defense made a motion to the trial court to have her released immediately. They made that motion at the trial level court. There's not really a process for that post-trial because they had already made a motion for new trial that had been denied by the court. And that was the motion based on my opinion. The defense's astounding and Olympic level reaching misreading of a court case talking about the jury instructions. So Jason Bowles filed a notice of appeal because the motion for new trial had gotten dismissed. And essentially what they're asking for in the motion for immediate release and motion for new trial is that A, Hannah Gutierrez gets released pending appeal, B, she gets released pending the motion for new trial, C, the case gets dismissed, or D, it gets a new trial. So Jason Bowles is kind of throwing everything at it after the dismissal of Alec Baldwin's case based on some of the same issues. But Hannah is in a different position than Baldwin was because her case is different. They knew different things at different times. Different things were disclosed to different attorneys. That was part of the problem here. And we now have a response from the state and a response from the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals is allowing Hannah Gutierrez's motion essentially for new trial, or motion for immediate release. It's also asking for a new trial. It's also asking for the case to be dismissed, to be heard by Judge Summer at the trial court level. Hannah Gutierrez has already filed a notice of appeal. Yes, Kari Morrissey is still the prosecutor handling these motions for the state. When a date is set for these motions, we are going to be covering it live. There is no way I'm going to miss that. There is not a chance we are going to miss it. We are going to be covering this live when it comes up. So the appellate court said, yes, the trial court level can hear this motion, essentially this motion for new trial based on new evidence. And the new evidence in that the defense is alleging is the failure essentially to turn over reports. They didn't lean as much into the grounds that Baldwin leaned into. Why? Because they knew that. They already knew those things. So this is leaning in a different way. Kari Morrissey, in the snarkier than was called for response, threw Baldwin under the bus, tried to throw Bowles under the bus, tried to defend herself, admitted that the second expert report was not turned over to the defense, argued that the request for Hannah Gutierrez's release is premature, that there are multiple motions about that pending, that the motion for new trial needs to be determined first, then the motion for release can be determined, and that the motion for new trial isn't even ready for hearing yet because the briefing is not done. So she's arguing that the defense's motion for immediate release is not well taken because the briefing needs to be finished on the motion for new trial, and that is not complete, and that the state will be responding to that on July 31st. So we will be talking about the motion for new trial when the state responds. We've already talked about some of it because there's the motion for immediate release and the motion for new trial, and the defense has kind of put them all together, and the state is trying to parse them back out and saying the release is too early, but then also kind of arguing the motion for new trial, saying that the defense didn't really have anything that was missing, and even if they did, it wasn't impactful to their case because the Hague report was clarified by the third report, and the line of questioning at trial was not outside of what was in those reports, and it was consistent with what was in those reports. So the defense really wouldn't have done anything differently, and it wouldn't have impacted this trial, even if they had had that second report. But Kari Morrissey is still responding to all these motions because she is still on the Hannah Gutierrez case as it wanders through the trial level court on the second motion for new trial. The first one was on that jury instruction, and on what Kari Morrissey says is the third motion for Hannah's release. The court is going to have to sort all of that out, and we will be there for what will invariably be a very spicy hearing when this goes to hearing. For deep dives into the stories that I covered here, you can find them on my YouTube channel at The Emily D. Baker and The Emily Show podcast. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday. The podcast goes live on Wednesdays. And if you want to stay in the loop with everything I'm doing, receive the fastest notifications out there, and get more Law Nerd community, join me at lawnerdapp.com, our free app for iOS and Android.